I would probably use vibration or tapping, which is more of a proprioceptive approach, which we will demonstrate, just so you know that. Light stroking. This is probably, with the arm, the best application of light tactile stroking. Okay? Looks like this. I want to work on digital extension. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do here is just light stroking. What I'm going to do is give Jill the command of opening her fingers while I'm coming distal to proximal between the metacarpals. Distal to proximal between the metacarpals. Trying to get more digital extension. Okay, open, Jill, open, 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 open. Okay? So that'd be a good example of light stroking for digital extension, which is a form of tactile stim. The reality is we like to combine multiple aspects, multiple facilitatory techniques. So does anyone have another facilitatory technique that I could help jumpstart digital extension with, aside from just light stroking? So how can I create a more phasic tectonic response, try and jumpstart digital extension with more than one technique, which is light stroking to the digital extensors? Tapping, yeah, you're thinking, that's what I like, that's kind of hard this far distal. And the sensor digitorum's deep, so tapping's probably not going to be effective. Yeah, exactly. Aaron got it. Quick light stretch. So remember, you're going to take the muscle belly, the tendons, elongate them. How we elongate them, we move them in the opposite direction of the movement. Quick light stretch, you're kind of pumping those tissues in the opposite direction of the movement, trying to facilitate a reflexive response. I give Jill the command of open your hand, while I'm also working distal to proximal between the metacarpals. All right. We could do the same thing with the wrist extensors. So we're going to work on quick light stretch, elongating extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis in the opposite direction of the movement, followed by some tactile stim, which is distal to proximal. I would use proprioceptive input, which is tapping or vibration. A quick light stretch coupled by that other input. Okay, thermal stim. Again, this facilitatory is quick swipes, right, of like ice. So maybe if you're doing home health care and you want to do something with the wrist extensors, elbow extensors, you might be able to go to the freezer and get a chunk of ice cube, put it in a washcloth, and literally for the wrist extensors, that would be putting the olecranon on my knee. That would be just distal proximal, quick light swipes, followed by the command of trying to take your hand towards the ceiling. Okay? So that might be, again, a time when you do use ice. I think that proprioceptive input is still the best facilitatory technique. So we'll get to that, I guess, next. So proprioceptive stim. We plug this thing in, and first thing says is we're going to work on the wrist extensors. Group 2 muscle. We're here on the bony prominences, typically on her olecranon as well, and I can just go distal to proximal with vibration, giving her the command of trying to move her hand up. Okay? I could do some quick light stretch, opposite direction of the movement, followed quickly by vibration. Sometimes maintain that vibration will help you maintain a more tonic response. Okay? Vibration. We could do the triceps, which is a group 2 muscle. and Jill is going to actually go supine here. And you can literally take someone's arm that is flaccid, there's no movement here whatsoever, to where you can do quick light stretch here. We're on the epicondyles as the bony landmarks. We're going to elongate that tricep by doing quick light stretch and flexion. Try and trigger a reflexive response, followed by vibration, which is distal to proximal. Zzz, and the arm starts to come up. Try and straighten it out, Jill. Straighten it out, straighten it out, straighten it out. Okay, now as we're doing that, I'm also performing a block on this arm. It's called a reverse block. What's a blocking exercise? You learned it some time ago. So we related it to fingers and flexion, right? So you stabilize proximal to the joint that you're trying to mobilize. That's a blocking exercise. Blocking exercise for elbow flexion is stabilize proximal to the joint that you're trying to mobilize. It's this. So what is a reverse blocking exercise? It's the exact same thing, but now you're dealing with the anatomical movement of extension rather than flexion. So if I ask Jill, Jill doesn't have any stability in her arm, so she needs me to hold her arm there, and she's not going to have any isolated control to just do this. She's going to be doing this. So I'm going to block that and then force her to work that tricep. She's pushing against my hand, forcing her to work that tricep. So now, quick light joint stretch, followed by some vibration, the blocking, and literally someone that has no elbow extension without any facilitatory techniques can reach almost full extension. It's pretty cool for these patients. Take it away, might just drop. Go up again, get it up there. Now if the person has spasticity in the group 2s, or group 1s I should say, what could happen is the arm just starts to drop slowly, okay? So in that case, you might try to have them have control and actually try to move into flexion. Quick light joint stretch, block, zap them with vibration. Good. Thank you, Jill. Maybe sit up if you don't mind. The next thing we could do would be, so we did, right, the wrist extensors. We could do this, quick light joint stretch. And then you take your vibration and give them the command of try and move your hand towards the ceiling. Move your hand towards the ceiling. Just a little proximal. I might do quick light joint stretch, and rather than reach for a vibration, I might just quickly do some tapping. Proprioceptive input. That percussion. 3 fingers, as quick as you can. Rather, it's not light, it's definitely giving that input. Now, abduction is a group 2 movement. So help me out here. This is in your book, okay? But if you think through the anatomy and physiology, it makes no sense. So, let's see if you can do this. All right. The abductors is a group 2 muscle, group 2 motion patterns. So we want to try and work those. So, I'm going to do a quick stretch to that deltoid, or whatever it's worth, that arm against the body in adduction, followed by the command of, and this is where, you know when we did the safe patient transfer workshop? Remember that friction-free surface that Margaret was using? That'd be excellent for this. I mean, you have no resistance. So I highly encourage that you keep some cognitive memory of that in service, especially for some of the